All right, let's get started on the McKenzie cardigan. I have swatched my work. I am going to use Lion Brand Heartland yarn. I have already knit this, and now I'm knitting a second one. The first one I knit this using We Are Knitters, the petite wool, on 5.5 millimeter needles, and I met gauge. This yarn's a little thinner. And it is 100% acrylic yarn. This yarn is 100% wool yarn. So when I knit my gauge swatch, I ended up going down a needle size. So I'm going to knit the main body of the work on 5 millimeter needles, and I will do the ribbing down a needle size on 4.5 millimeter needles. So make sure you knit a gauge swatch and figure out if you need to go up or down a needle size to hit the gauge. The gauge, you're going to want to knit a sample of the work if you open up the pattern. And there is a chart in here on how to complete the feather lace diamond gauge chart. Watch this other video that I have linked below to see exactly how to knit the feather lace diamond stitch. I don't want to sit and go over that right now. I will get started, but if you need to slow down and figure out how to do these stitches, start by watching that video. Again, that will be linked in the video description to show you how to knit the feather lace diamond stitch and just generally read knitting charts. One other thing I wanted to note, the stitches in the in between the double bars here, the thick lines, that will be your stitch repeat. Okay, so we are going to start by knitting the right front body, and I just wanted to quickly give you an overview of how we'll be working the sweater. So here's my first sample of the sweater that I knit in We Are Knitters Petite Wool. So you are going to start by making the right front body. So the right front is the front that as if you were wearing the garment. So we are looking at the sweater now, and this looks like it's on the left, but it's actually the right front, because if I were to put it on, it would sit on my right side. So you're going to knit the right front flat, back and forth. Then you're going to knit the left front, which is basically a mirror image of the left front. Okay. Then we're going to knit the back, which is basically a square. And then we're going to seam the shoulders at the top, and that's a good time to do the ribbing if you want. And then you'll knit 2 sleeves flat, and then we will seam everything together. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how we're doing this, what's going on, but that is just a general overview on how to knit this. This pattern can be a little overwhelming if you are new to knitting charts. So I'm just, instead of like walking you through the whole pattern with all the charts, I'm just going to start knitting. I am knitting a size 2. So what I like to do is take a marker or pen or highlighter or whatever and go through the pattern and kind of circle all of the size 2 information. So when you knit, when you look at sizes for a knitting pattern, you are going to, if I'm knitting a size 2, I'm going to reference the second number in the list of numbers. Okay, and just on sizing, I'm knitting a size 2. This is a drop shoulder sweater, so you want it to be pretty large. You need the sleeves to come down long enough to fit comfortably on you because it is so boxy. Okay, so we are going to start with a size 2. So we're starting with the right front body. So I need to cast on 48 stitches for my size 2. So I'm going to cast on 48 stitches using the long tail cast on method with the smaller needle. So I need to go down my needle size. So for me, that'll be 4.5 millimeter needles. And I'm going to work 1 by 1 rib. You can see there's information for 1 by 1 rib for sizes 1, 3, and 5 and sizes 2 and 4. So I'm going to hop down to size 2 here and work rib following these directions. 6, 47, 48. So now that we cast on our 48 stitches, or however many stitches you need to cast on, you're going to work 1 by 1 rib, but you need to make sure you're paying attention to which 1 by 1 rib you're supposed to follow. Sizes 1, 3, 5 have odd number of stitches, and sizes 2 and 4 have even number of stitches, so that's why they're broken out. So just make sure you're following the knit 1, purl 1, or 1 by 1 rib for your size. So I'm knitting a size 2, so I just need to knit 1 and purl 1, and repeat that knit 1 and purl 1 all the way to the end. If you are doing a size 1, 3, or 5, you do knit 1, purl, or you do purl 1, knit 1, all the way to the last stitch, and then you'll purl 1. So, and also just note, we just cast on, we're turning the work. This will be the wrong side of the work. It doesn't really matter right now at this point, but it will matter when you start doing the lace stitch. So again, I am just going to do a knit 1, purl 1. So follow the directions for your size, and it says to repeat rows 1 and 2 for 2.5 inches. So just work a 1 by 1 rib for your size for 2.5 inches, and I'll see you back here when I am done with that. And just note, when you do 1 by 1 rib with even stitches, when you turn the work, you're actually repeating the same thing, knit 1, purl 1, because the stitches are reversed, and then it's just a little different when you have an odd number of stitches, so just pay attention to that. Just note that the pattern says to end the 1 by 1 rib after a right side row, so you can tell you're on the right side. If you do a long tail cast on, it looks like this on the right side and this on the wrong side at the cast on edge. So I am finishing a right side row, and I am at about 2.5 inches in ribbing length. So this will be my last row that I do in my 1 by 1 rib. So I'm ending after a right side row. When you are done with your ribbing and you have finished after a right side row, at the end of a right side row, you're going to turn the work, and the pattern says to switch to the larger needles now. So all you're going to do is take your larger needles and purl back. So we are switching to the needles and purling a row at the same time. So now you just purl all the way to the end, knitting the stitches off the needle that you're holding in your left hand onto the larger needle now onto your right hand. Okay, so now I'm just going to drop that smaller needle. I'm going to turn the work. It's on the right side now. I have my ribbing on my larger needles. Now, after you've done that purl row to switch needles, you are going to begin knitting a chart. So look at your size and look at what letter chart it says to knit, and it tells you how many times to complete the chart. So I'm going to flip to my chart, and for my size, I am going to knit a chart B, and I am going to repeat it 3.5 times, ending after a row 8. Okay, so this is chart B, this is A, B, C, D. Just reference what chart you are supposed to follow for your size. Okay, I am not going to show you exactly how to knit every chart, okay? But again, you can watch the video to learn how to complete each stitches. I just want to go through how to read the charts so you understand. So look at the chart that corresponds to your size. So I am a size 2, so I am looking at chart B. Basically, I'm going to follow the chart, work the first 5 stitches, and then repeat these 10 stitches in the double lines here. You just keep repeating. So you'll knit 4, then you'll do the knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass a slip stitch over, knit 1, and then repeat again. Knit 4, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass a slip stitch over, knit 1, repeat again. And then you're going to keep repeating until you have 3 stitches left, and then you'll just work the chart, the 3 stitches at the end. Same thing for all of these other charts. You work the first grouping of stitches, you work the repeat as many times as you can, and then when you have the certain number of stitches left and you can't do the repeat anymore, you'll just knit to the end of the chart. Remember, you purl back, and then you move on to a row 3, and you follow the chart for row 3, repeating the stitches inside the bars. Again, That's how you complete this. So figure out how many times you're supposed to complete the charts. Some of the charts tell you when to end. Some charts you're going to complete the entire rows. So once you complete rows 1 through 16, you're going to repeat the chart again, go back to row 1. So for my size 2, it says complete chart 3, 3.5 times, 3.5 times, ending after a row 8 for a total of 56 rows. So I will complete the chart 3 times, rows 1 through 16, 3 times, and then work it again, finishing after a row 8. So that's how many times I will work the chart. So you can begin working the chart for your size, following the instructions for how many times you're supposed to repeat the 16 row repeat. So I've done the repeats, and now I only have 3 stitches left, so I know I'm at the end. I know I don't have any more repeats to do, so I just knit to the end for my chart, and now I'm gonna purl back and then reference what I'm supposed to do for row 3. I just wanted to note when you're on the wrong side, purling back, work those yarn overs very carefully. Be sure not to drop those stitches. You just purl those stitches as if they were regular stitch, but they'll be a little bit larger. Just wanted to note to be careful and mindful of those yarn overs. All right, I've completed a row 1 and row 2, so now I'm gonna look at my chart again and work row 3. And again, remember you read from this way across because it follows the way you're knitting, and then you purl back this way. Okay, I just wanted to show you what the work is looking like after one full repeat of the chart, after rows 1 through 16. So for my size, like I said, I'm gonna complete this 2.5 more times for a total of 3.5 times. Your stitches might look a tad different because you'll have different groupings based on your size, but overall, this is what the diamond lace, this is what the stitch pattern will start to look like. Okay, I have worked my body to the length it's supposed to be. For my case, for the size 2, I was supposed to knit the chart 3.5 times. And a good way to remember that and to figure out if you knit to the right length is basically one repeat is a diamond. So if I was supposed to complete this 3.5 times, I can count up 1, 2, 3, and that's half a diamond. So 3.5 diamonds, 3.5 times is the length that I'm supposed to knit. So once you've completed the body chart, it says you work the right front V-neck. And so you're going to need to find the appropriate chart for your size. So I'm knitting a size 2, so I need to reference chart F on page 8. So if I move to page 8 and look at chart F, all of these charts are similar for each size. They're just, constructed a little bit differently to create larger V-necks, so larger or smaller V-necks. So basically, I am going to move to the right front chart, which is the chart on the top. Basically, to knit the right and left fronts, the concept, the only thing that's different, you know how to knit a chart now. You know how to look at the chart and knit it. The only thing that's different is that we're creating the V-neck by decreasing an extra stitch strategically throughout this diamond lace pattern. So you're gonna see this slip 1, knit 2 together, past the slip stitch over now. Here, 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 here. That's what creates the reduction in stitches. We're decreasing 2 stitches instead of 1 stitches in those places. So when you are reading the chart, make sure you are looking at where you need to do those reduced by 2 stitches, that slip 1, knit 1, past the slip stitch over, because that's what will create the V-neck. So you'll work the chart through row 8, and then row 9 is where that starts. Same thing with the other sizes. You'll just need to look. Concept still applies, but the V-neck is just deeper, and you'll just do some additional length there. And then after, just take note that after a row 38, you'll start working straight, and each size has that same concept, okay? So that's how you read the chart for the right front. And the pattern says that you need to, when you work, after you work the right front, that you will end after a wrong side row and bind off on the right side in stockinette stitch. So after, like for a size 2, you'll purl back for a row 48, and then you'll just bind off in stockinette stitch on the right side. Then you'll work the left front V-neck. You'll go back to your pattern, look at your size, make sure you do ribbing appropriately for your size. Then you'll reference the chart, complete the chart for the number of times you need to complete the chart. And then you'll come back and you'll knit the left front V-neck. And the only thing that's different here is that you'll need to do a knit 3 together. And instead of doing the slip 1, knit 2 together, pass the slip stitch over, which we did for the right front, that creates a left leaning decrease. We're gonna do a knit 3 together to create this right leaning decrease. So when you do 3 stitches together, it's very similar to a knit 2 stitches together. You're literally just knitting 3 stitches together. Insert the needle through 3 stitches and knit as you normally would. It's hard because I'm doing this in a spot where it's not really supposed to go, so it's not working so well. So that's all you do. That's all you do to do a knit 3 together. It's the same concept as a knit 2 stitches together, but you are knitting 3 stitches together. So again, those are strategically placed. Those knit 3 together stitches are strategically placed along the edges of the diamond, at the top of the diamond, and the next row to create the diagonal shape for the left front V-neck. So then again, you will purl back on the wrong side, bind off in stockinette stitch on the right side. Then you'll move on to the back. The back, again, you'll follow ribbing for your size. And then again, you'll reference a chart. You'll complete the chart. And that one you will have to repeat inside the double line. So for my size 2, it says to complete chart A. So I'm going to go back to chart A. I will follow this chart. So it says to cast on, so I'm casting on 103 stitches for a size 2, and then I'm going to knit chart A. So I will have multiple repeats to get me until I have 8 stitches left here at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So I will do the 10 stitch repeat until I have 8 stitches left for my size. And basically the back is just a straight square. So you're going to do your ribbing at the bottom. And the back is literally just doing the ribbing. And then the diamond lace stitch repeat, it's just a big square. The back is just a big square. So you'll end after a wrong side row, bind off on the right side. Now I just want to talk about the sleeves because the sleeves are just a tad different. You will not complete the ribbing first for the sleeves. You will do the ribbing at the end because you're going to start at the shoulder. You're going to start at the shoulder for the sleeves and work your way down, and then do a series of decreases for the sleeve cuff. So this is the sleeve is knit flat. So just imagine that this is opened up. You're going to have the work go in like this, and I'll show you the chart. So follow the directions for how many stitches you should cast on for these sleeves, and you'll complete a certain chart for a number of times. And then you're going to reference the sleeve decreases chart. And I will show you that. There are 3 sleeve decrease charts, and so you'll just reference for your size. For a size 2, this is what the chart looks like. And all this is, I know it might look overwhelming, but it's combining the decreases you've already done for the left and right fronts just at the same time. So you're going to have those extra decreases, just pay attention to those and some of the rows at the beginning and the end. So you'll have the knit 3 together on this side, and then the slip 1, knit 2 together, pass the slip stitch over on this side, and then you'll just purl back on the right side, and you'll complete ribbing for the sleeves at that point. Then you will seam everything together. And the seaming, I'm gonna insert another video where I show you how I seam together the shoulders, the top of the shoulders first. I'm gonna seam the shoulders. So once you've knit the back, fronts, and sleeve, you're gonna seam the shoulders together at the top of the work. So you're gonna place the front panels and the back on top of each other with the ribbing at the bottom, making sure the piece lines up evenly at the top, and then you're gonna use your tapestry needle to seam the top of the work up here. So you're gonna have your left front and your right front laying on top of the work, but basically you won't have the ribbing on yet, but you will put the right front and the left front on top of the back, and you're just gonna seam the top of the work here first. And then you're gonna open up the work so that the front and the back are laying flat, and you're gonna take your sleeve laying flat and seam the sleeve. Again, I will link a video here where I show you how I seam a cardigan like this very similarly. So I'll make sure that's available to you guys. And then you'll seam the arms and the body together all at once. Sometimes I like to work up from the bottom to the armhole and armpit, and then from the end of the sleeve in. So that's how you seam. And then you're gonna pick up stitches for the button band and complete a certain number of rows in ribbing. You're gonna pick up 3 stitches for every 4 rows along the side all the way up to the top. You're gonna pick up 1 stitch for every stitch across the top of the back here, and then 3 stitches for 4 rows all the way down the other side. And you're gonna just reference the pattern on how to rib. I have you do it a little differently at the ends so it ends up nice and neat at the end. And then you're gonna knit a certain number of rows and work the buttonholes by binding off 2 stitches, continuing in the rib pattern. I'll have you mark where to create the buttonholes. Again, just reference the pattern. You're gonna bind off 2 stitches to create these buttonholes, and then when you come back, you're gonna cast on 2 stitches where you bound off on the next row. And then you'll continue 1 by 1 rib and bind off in 1 by 1 rib. All right, so that's just overall how to knit the McKenzie cardigan. While it's a challenging pattern, it's a really unique and different pattern. I love the way it turned out. It's a great way to kind of flex your knitting muscles and, read knitting charts and create something that's really interesting and unique. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see your McKenzie cardigan.